It's time to start the series that I've wanted to make since I first started YouTube. The long-awaited 0 to 100k growth investment portfolio. I've already built up a 100k portfolio twice before, so I thought why not try it again and take you guys along for the ride and show you step by step how I do it. But there's a twist. The only money that I can use to build this portfolio is money that I've generated from YouTube. Hopefully this will show you that it's possible to start a side hustle, invest it and get to where you want to be. Each episode I'll be showing you what I've made and how I've invested it, so I'll document the growth of my passive income as well as the growth of this portfolio. Now I want this series to be quite interactive with you guys. You've already provided me with some great feedback which has helped me shape up this series to this point. So I will be asking you guys for input along the way in how we build this portfolio and things like stock ideas, because I think taking some of them from you guys will make this really fun. If you guys like the idea of this, do press that like button as it'll really help to support the series and show me that you guys want to see more of these. But first, let's go over some points in what I'm looking for. 1, I really know that it's the worst possible time to be starting this series, as the market is pretty crazy in terms of its overvaluation. What I do think is this will hopefully take away some of the fear mongering away from investing at the moment. Every other video is the stock market has crashed, oh no. Both of my portfolios have actually beaten the market at the moment, so I don't think it needs to be as scary as people are making it out. 2, the companies I'm looking at are companies that I think are undervalued for what they provide, or companies that I feel are going to continue to grow into the future. I may add some dividend companies, but if I do, I'm looking for companies that will both grow and provide the dividend. 3, each company I plan to buy, I plan to hold for a minimum of 3 years. I won't plan on selling the company unless something drastically changes, which changes my view on the company. And if I do, I'll let you know. 4, this portfolio is currently within a general investment account, but that may change depending on my tax circumstances. If I'm pushed into the higher tax paying bracket, I'll be converting this into a SIP, which will also accelerate the growth of the portfolio. 5, the broker I'm using for this series at the moment is Freetrade, and that's the pro version, but that may change in the future. But as long as you're with a good broker, these stocks should be available to you if you choose to pick any of these up. I want to keep these videos as concise and as valuable as possible, so let's dive into how much I've made since starting this YouTube channel. So let's take a look at what I've actually made. So here you see a table of everything I've made so far from YouTube, and I'm going to explain it because it looks a little bit complicated at first glance. This actually goes all the way back to June last year, and the way I've done this is, rather than me say I've made this much this month and that much this month, I'm actually going on when I actually get the money in my account, which I think is much more realistic. Because in some cases I'm having to wait maybe 2 or 3 months to actually receive payment. So for example here in YouTube ads, you can see in November I made £820, but that is actually going back right to January. Well, I think actually I got ads turned on in June. So in terms of YouTube ads, I made 820 in November and December was 377, which is great. But of course that is over a 12-month period, so I couldn't just rely on that. So here you'll see my match betting. Now, match betting is a little bit weird. That is actually from the video where I did match betting for a week and I made £536.94 tax-free. I've actually done match betting since then and I do it in my spare time and make more money, like I mentioned. I made about £1,000 that month, but it's not really my YouTube income. Now, because I did that specifically for the video, I'm including that income there. On average, I probably make at least £200 a month from match betting alone, because I just pick and choose offers that give me high value. If you want to have a go at match betting, I will leave a link down below, because I think even if you do it for a week, it's well worth checking out. I'll do a full tutorial on it soon for 2022 in case anyone's interested. Now, affiliates is the section where I've managed to make most income. In September, I managed to make 163 and it's been building up since then. In October, it went up to 431. November, £2,296.59. And that's actually a bit of a weird sum. That is including all of the free shares that I've got from Freetrade all through that period. So I've just kind of cut it off at that point and decided that's when it was 2,000. It's actually really hard to track how many free shares I get, but Freetrade has severely capped that, so I'm expecting that to drop significantly. In December, I made £438.73, and in January, I've made £1,086.58. And of course, this is a bit provisional because in January I haven't finished the month yet. Sponsors, I've done fairly well so far. I've had a couple of sponsored videos at £500 in September, £500 again in October, and in November I made £62. December, I didn't have any sponsored videos, And January, I've got a larger payment here of $2,124, and that's part of an ongoing sponsorship, so it's not just this one video. That's going to continue into the next few months. Hopefully by the end of the year, the goal for this one is to have kind of a consistent sponsor, which will make up about £1,000 a month. Patreon, I only just recently started back in December. I haven't actually had any payments out from it yet, although I'm expecting around £45 from December, and January should be around £200 because they do take quite high fees. If you're interested in the Patreon, do take a look at it. It's a great way to help support the channel and make this viable for me. Again, anything I earn will just go straight back into this series, and you'll also get to see these stocks as and when I buy them, as well as my main portfolio, which is currently at around 128,000. We've also built up a really nice Discord community where we chat every day, so if you're interested, do come over and say hello. So in total, my earnings have been as follows. September was 663, October 1,468, November 3,179, December 816, and in January has been fantastic, and it should be around 3,200. Now obviously these vary massively, but just to give you some context, over the past 12 months I've earned around 9,338, and that's over again a 12-month period. So on average each month I've made around £778, with an average hourly rate of £19.45, which is good, but it's still kind of under half of my normal rate, so it's still not really worthwhile for me to make these YouTube videos. But of course, for the first 6 months, I didn't even get monetization, so hopefully in the next 6 months or 12 months, it'll hopefully average out and I'll be making a little bit more money. So far, I've split this a little bit weird because it just made sense to put the 2,000 from free shares into this series, plus the 2 sponsors. So far in episode 1, I've invested £3,000. And what I'm going to do in episode 2, I'm also going to invest £3,000. And that's because some of these are going to spread over a few different series. And once I've cleared these balances, we'll get kind of up to date, and I want to keep it quite steady. And also what you have to remember with all of these things is I have to account for tax. Of course, that will exclude the match betting because that's tax-free, which is the best thing about it. But overall, I still need to keep about 20% for tax, which is currently £1,760. Now some of that, if I'm lucky, may come under capital gains, which I'm pretty sure it won't, but it will also possibly come into the higher tax bracket. So I'm going to keep that back for now, and hopefully I'll be able to invest that if I do go into a SIP. So first, I'm investing £3,000 and I'm going to be splitting it into 6 companies. The goal will eventually to build this up into around 15 companies that I can actively manage and monitor across a range of different sectors. Any more than that, I think would probably just be unmanageable. I also have to say a huge thank you to CoinJar, who have continually supported this channel. Without them, this wouldn't even be possible. They make it possible for me to make these videos. If you're looking for an easy way to buy crypto, I would highly recommend them, as they are my go-to app with a low 1% fee, and it's free to deposit and withdraw with bank transfers. They've got more cryptocurrencies being added every month. It is well worth making an account, and I'll leave a link to them down below. So here's the 6 companies I bought to kickstart this portfolio, and here are my reasons why. First up is On the Beach, with the ticker symbol OTB. I'm sure many of you will be familiar with these, as they are a major UK holiday seller, as they do provide some fantastic deals. Now they've had a sharp drop of over 30% in the past few months, as the government has created further barriers for travel. They have a market cap of 345 million, with a profit of 4.6 million before COVID. They have a market cap of 345 million, with a profit of 34.6 million. And before COVID, they had an impressive cash balance of 55 million. I believe they can easily return to pre-pandemic levels once the restrictions lift. A lot of the heavy overhead competitors are struggling or they've already failed. They've also had 20% growth annually pre-pandemic. Now there will be ups and downs that need to be ridden out in the short term, but I think at the moment it's a good time to buy them, as I think the industry will return just fine. The obvious risk here is that travel restrictions are ongoing, but I really think we're past that now, and there's great potential in this company. Next up on my list is one you may not have heard of, and that is Cooper, with the ticker symbol COOP. Now they are a tech/software company, and they're a top player in business spend management. My reasons to buying these are as follows. Their target market is worth a whopping $56 billion, and they're continuing to grow with new offerings like B2B financing and payments. There's an acceleration in dollar-based retention points to customer loyalty and a growing opportunity to add more products around the core platform. As of Q3 2021, over 1,315 customers had annualized subscription billings of over 100,000 on Cooper. That figure was up 30% year on year. Now they've got huge customers such as Unilever, Airbus, Toyota, Walmart, and even fellow SaaS leader Salesforce. Their revenue, profit, and cash flow is growing each year. Now, risks for this company are as follows. First is that they pay for more acquisitions in stock, which could alter the price. They're also a relatively small player with around 700 million in sales compared to giants like Salesforce. Now, I do believe it's still quite early on in their journey, with strong financials and it being down over 52%, which seems really harsh. I can see some nice upside in this stock. Next up is McFarlane, ticker symbol MACF, which you'll have seen in my stocks for 2022 video, so I won't talk too much about them, but the key points are as follows. They're a big player in packaging distribution. They have a track record of growth via organic expansion and a bolt-on acquisition that could still have some way to run. I think the company has opportunities for further growth in margins and in cash flow. They've got a respectable dividend yield of just shy of 2%, which combines current income and future growth potential. The biggest threat the company faces is supply chain issues and, of course, inflation, which could play an impact on their price when they've already got quite small margins. Now, next up is one that's a little bit different, but I think it's in a really interesting market, and that one is Gear4Music with the ticker symbol G4M. Gear4Music is a huge retailer in the online musical instrument space. Recently, they have stumbled due to supply chain issue challenges, and it's taking them longer than anticipated to recover. The company is currently scaling its Irish and Spanish distribution. They've got a really great CEO founder, which is something I always look for. He owns around 30% of the company, and I really like it when a company's founder has a stake in the business themselves and their own money is on the line. The sales have rapidly grown from 25 million in 2015 to over 157 million in the last year. And the best thing is they only own a small portion of the market, which is a huge market worth around an estimated 5 billion. Now, next up to a company that I'm sure you're all familiar with is Airbnb with the ticker symbol ABNB. Airbnb is a category leader that's poised to shape and benefit from the growth of the travel and hospitality industries. Its whole house offering compares well to a cramped hotel room. For those interested in taking extended working holidays, Airbnb is already seeing a benefit from this trend. Now, despite some lingering pandemic-related challenges, the business saw its best ever quarterly performance in Q3. Revenue surged from 67%, while its net income skyrocketed 283% year on year. Again, which I really like, the company's executives and directors have a combined stake which tops 35%. Between its accommodation and experience booking services, the management sees a total addressable market of roughly 3.4 trillion, and it's likely that this market will continue to expand. The risks for this company are as follows. Regulatory risk may slow down their progress, and a lot of growth is already factored into the price. The early investors do have a chance to sell their stock now, but Airbnb is a service I use a lot and I can see it going a long way in the future. At the current price, I think it's got great growth potential over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, the final company on my list is actually another musical company, and you might think I've gone mad for music, and this one is called Focusrite with the ticker symbol Tune, and they supply high-end audio equipment. The company has benefited significantly by the rise of people picking up musical instrument hobbies during lockdown. The founder remains involved as an executive chairman and also owns a large stake in the business. Now, I'm sure you can see a recurring theme here. There's an impressive prospect for growth coming from designing new products and acquiring new businesses in adjacent categories. They have a really strong track record of both sales and profit growth. Now, the biggest risk is that since 2014, they didn't acquire another company for 15 years, unlike their competitors. There could be fears that if they go ahead and acquire more companies, it could be poorly handled if they decide to go down that route. There could have been reasons that they didn't want to acquire new companies. There's also risks with their diverse geographical sales, and whenever you get this, any movements in the pound versus other currencies could have a negative impact on their figures. But overall, I think they are kind of a high price, but you're paying a high price for a high quality company. So here is all the ones I bought so far. You can see the company names, the ticker, how much I've invested, how many shares, the price I bought at, and my targets, which I update quite frequently, and the potential upside. And I'm going to change the status whether I recommend it to be a buy, a hold or a sell. At the moment, all of these are still a buy. As of documenting this, the portfolio is currently worth around £3,078. And that's a gain of 2.61%, which I'm quite happy with. I think a few of these companies, like On the Beach, is actually up already about 22%. Some, like Cooper, are down 12%. But I'm not really bothered about that. I'm holding 3 to 5 years, so no matter which way they go, I'm at the moment quite happy. If a company like Cooper are down at the moment, as of recording this, I'm quite happy to just invest more money because I'm holding them long term. For me, that's just an extra 10 or 12% that I can make when it comes up. Any dividends I'm just looking at as a bonus. And as I said, I will be updating these within the Discord and the Patreon. So if you are interested, do consider checking that out, as it goes a huge way to supporting this series, and it'll make it a whole lot more interested if we got more money to invest. And if you're interested, you can see how this portfolio is currently made up. I'm not worried too much about this at the moment. I'm going to be splitting this a bit more differently in the next video, and considering how I'm positioned in different markets. I think at the moment there's some really good plays in the UK, so I might be investing in some of those. I'll be updating my portfolio in way more detail, so I probably won't rely on the free trade app because I don't believe in relying on these apps for anything. I'd much rather track it myself and know what's happening. So let me know down below what you guys think. Are you going to pick up any of these companies? Which companies are you buying at the moment? Have you got any recommendations? Let me know down below which companies you think I should buy, and I'll be sure to take a look. I'd also really like to know if you guys would like me to see some of this invested in crypto. Maybe I could start doing half crypto, half stocks, or shall I keep it all in stocks and shares? At some point, I would really like to build up a crypto portfolio again to about 100,000, but I'd also like to do this series. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you missed my last portfolio update, I'll leave it right here. And don't panic at the moment, there's still room to make those gains.
I just wanna see the light.